Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 40k Imperial Guard Tactics video. Now, two quick announcements before we get into the meat and potatoes of this video. First one, I just want to say apologies for my sort of intermittent video uploads. I did for a while get into being able to do one a day every day, but between work and holiday and stag do's and that, it's really been difficult to keep up the one a day. But I am trying to get back on it. However, I do apologise. I did miss Monday's upload. I don't know what happened. I just missed it. So I will be flagellating myself as penance to the Emperor for neglecting my duties. But the second thing I want to say is big, super huge thank you to Darren Wadland for sending in these pictures of his Catachans. Honestly, these are some of the best looking Catachans that I've ever seen. They're a good mix of the old metal models with a few plastic ones interspersed. Have to say, I do love the old metal Catachans. And it's very rare that I say this, but because I quite like unique paint schemes, but this is what I would call a classic Catachan scheme done right. So congratulations, Darren. Absolutely fantastic models. Really enjoy what you've done. This squad is my favourite. I love that old lieutenant model with the power fist. You've got him as a sergeant here, but absolutely fantastic models and great paint job. Really inspired me to dust off, my old Mordians and start painting them. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into the video. So today's video, we're going to be it's going to be a little bit of a 2-for-1, okay? Because I missed Monday, and I was originally going to split this video down to two separate ones, but I think I'm actually going to do it as one combined video, okay? And what we're going to be looking at today is we're going to be looking at the Leman Russ Conqueror and the Leman Russ Annihilator. Now, both of these tanks are from Forgeworld. Okay, that's the number one thing I want to get out, make clear straight away. So that comes with its own advantages and disadvantages. The advantages are that a lot of people, especially when you play against them, won't really have encountered these tanks before, so they won't really be aware of how powerful they are. And the main disadvantage is that a lot of places still don't allow Forgeworld. Now, I don't mind some Forgeworld stuff. I'm not a big fan of bringing these really massive, crazy Forgeworld super units to a regular game. But things like the Leman Russ Annihilator and Leman Russ Conqueror, generally speaking, they're quite tame. They're just two variants of the Leman Russ that, realistically speaking, probably should be in the main codex anyway. But anyway, so we're going to take a look. I know a lot of you have been asking me for lots of more Forgeworld content. So I thought I did a bit of Deathcore stuff. I thought this would be a good chance for me to take a look at some of the more accessible Forgeworld units to the Imperial Guard. So the Leman Russ Annihilator and Leman Russ Conqueror, the first thing I want to say is, with the various FAQs that have gone on, they're now both 122 points. So I believe that originally the Conqueror was like 112 and the Annihilator was 132. They've all been normalised now. Your basic Leman Russ chassis costs you 122 points now. So that's one thing to be aware of if you're thinking about getting one of these. They're the same cost as a normal Leman Russ. Now, we'll go over the Conqueror first, because I think this is the one that most people will, without any modifications whatsoever, be able to run in one of their lists. Okay? Essentially, what it is the Leman Russ Conqueror, it has the same as a normal Leman Russ, as we've said, but it has a very interesting battle cannon called the Conqueror battle cannon. Okay? Now, the regular, normal Leman Russ battle cannon has a 72-inch range, strength 8, AP-2, D3 damage, and costs 22 points. The Conqueror battle cannon costs 25 points, has the same strength, AP, and damage, but it's only got a 48-inch range. So some of you might be saying, well, why would you pay more for a weapon with less range? Well, the cannon itself is not what makes the Conqueror amazing. What makes the Conqueror absolutely amazing, and I'm saying this now, I am running my Steel Legion Leman Russes going forward now as Conquerors, just because A, they've got the stubby barrels anyway, because that's the way I've modelled them, but B, because of the coaxial Storm Bolter. Okay. Now, what the Coaxial Storm Bolt does is it's a free upgrade. Okay, it doesn't cost you anything. So realistically, if you take, then normally a Storm Bolt would cost you 2 points, right? So realistically, the Conqueror Battle Cannon only costs 23 points. So it's 1 point more than a normal battle cannon. So not a big deal. But what the Coaxial Storm Bolt allows you to do is, obviously it's a normal Storm Bolter, so you get to do that. But if you shoot the Coaxial Storm Bolter at a target, now key thing here is you don't even need to hit. You just have to shoot at them. Okay. And then you shoot your Conqueror Battle Cannon at the same target. Then you get to re-roll all hit rolls for your Conqueror Battle Cannon. That's right, guys. Basically, for a 3-point upgrade, you're going to have a Battle Cannon that gets to re-roll all hit rolls. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Someone may correct me if I'm wrong in the comments here. But where I've read the Conqueror Battle Cannon rules, and I'm going to bring them up here now, just in case. Just so I'm not stepping on my own toes. But the coaxial weapon rule, if during the same shooting phase this modifier that's Conqueror Battle Cannon at the same target as the Coaxial Storm Bolter, it may re-roll any hit rolls with its Conqueror Battle Cannon. Now this is really, really important, guys. Really important. Because it says any hit rolls. Not any failed hit rolls, any hit rolls. Now the reason this is important is because of modifiers. So many of you will probably know this already, but modifiers, when you're rolling a dice, let's say you're shooting at someone who's got the Alpha Legion tactic or the Alteok tactic or the Raven Guard tactic where they're -1 to hit. Normally if you roll your dice to shoot at them and you need 4s to hit. And so normally what would happen is you roll your dice, and what happens is you hit with the 4s, you do the result, and then you apply the modifiers, which means the 4s become not hits, they become 5s. Okay? So for example, when you're if it said you get to reroll any failed hit rolls with the Conqueror Battle Cannon, that would mean that you wouldn't get to reroll any 4s, which count as misses. Okay, because technically they would count as hits, and then later they get modified to count as misses. Okay? I know it's a little confusing, but because the Conqueror Battle Cannon says may reroll any hit rolls, that's very important. If you're shooting your Conqueror at something which has got a -1 to hit modifier, you can still reroll the 4s. Okay? Now that's really important. That might not be super clear how I've explained that, but go and do a little bit of looking into it, and hopefully you'll understand what I mean. But basically, guys, you roll dice, work out the result, and then apply the modifiers. And normally that means, so for example, if you're shooting a plasma gun at someone with a -1 to hit, and a good example is if you're shooting a plasma gun with a -1 to hit, and you overcharge the plasma gun, and you roll your dice, and let's say you've got take aim on your plasma gun, so you get to reroll 1s to hit. If you roll the dice and you get a 1, you get to reroll it because you've got take aim. But if you got a 2, 1, you wouldn't get to reroll it because the result itself on the dice is a 2. And then you would apply the -1, which would mean your dice of 2 becomes a dice of 1, and then you would kill yourself with the overheat. That's how you explain it. Okay? But with the Conqueror, you would get to reroll all dice no matter what of the modifiers. You could reroll the hits if you really wanted to. Not that you would, but if you really wanted to reroll like your 5s and 6s, which you could do, but it'd be retarded, but you could do. It's the same, for any of you who are still confused, go and take a look at Belisarius' Call special rule. He also says you may reroll any hit rolls, and he's very specifically different to where it says may reroll any failed hit rolls. Okay? So that makes the Conqueror absolutely fantastic. For a modest 3-point increase, in which you get a Storm Bolter anyway, you get the ability to reroll all your hit rolls if you need to, and the only downside is you only have a 48-inch range. Now, sometimes it's really nice to have a 72-inch range. Not going to lie, sometimes having a 72-inch range does help. But a 48-inch range is also just fine for most day-to-day uses. Now, the second tank I want to take a look at is the Leman Russ Annihilator. Okay? Now, the Leman Russ Annihilator is a very simple tank. It's essentially, the fluff behind the Annihilator is the Imperium needed a dedicated tank hunting tank. But the Imperium has lost the ability to produce more Vanquishers. It's stupid. Apparently there's one planet in the whole of the Imperium that could produce Vanquisher turrets. It's bollocks. But anyway, the fluff was they lost the ability to build Vanquishers. They can scavenge them, and they can sort of modify them, but to build actual pure thoroughbred Vanquishers is becoming harder and harder for the Imperium to do, which is why Vanquishers are only given to tank aces like Pask. But the Imperium needed something that could still do the same job. So they came up with the Leman Annihilator, which is essentially a Leman with twin lascannon turret. Now in the past, the Annihilator's been kind of poo, because in sort of 6th and 7th edition, it was one twin-linked lascannon shot. Oh, woohoo, big deal kind of thing. But in 8th edition, the Annihilator becomes a real nasty piece of work because of the grinding advanced special rule. So if you... We've got the standards, this is FAQ'd by the way, so you might not see this in the actual index 8th edition, but go to the Forgeworld FAQ. Basically, if you move less than half distance with your Lehmann Annihilator, you get to fire the turret twice. And because there's no such thing as twin linked anymore, it's just a twin lascannon, it's just 2 lascannon shots. You get to fire 2 lascannon shots twice, which becomes 4 lascannon shots. Now, if you put a whole lascannon on the tank as well, then you would get to fire 5 lascannon shots from one tank. Now, obviously, the disadvantage here is that it only hits on a 4+. But realistically, that's what most of your lascannons will be hitting on anyway, so it's not really a big deal. And the way you would get around this inherent difficulty is you would take it as Cadian, do a wound with another unit, and then use overlapping fields of fire to allow this thing to hit on a 3+, which would make it much, much better. Now, I'm just going to take a quick look at the points for the Annihilator, because I haven't actually looked at it yet, but I'm pretty sure Twin Lascannon is 40 points. So you look at your 122 points, plus 40 points to the Twin Lascannon, plus 20 points to the regular Lascannon, which is 60 points. So you're looking at 182 points for 5 Lascannon shots on a toughness 8, 12 wound, 3+ save platform. That is pretty nice. That's better than pretty nice. That's damn good. Now, you could go all out. You could go all out and start adding things like multi-melters on the side or plasma cannons on the side. But I'm going to be absolutely honest, as much as I love sponsons, I don't think that's a good idea. Number one, this tank wants to be sitting still, shooting long-range lascannon shots. It doesn't really want to be trundling around the place. So you're never really going to get those multi-melters in range. I mean, I like multi-melters, don't get me wrong. But multi-melters are another 20 points each. That's another 40 points. So you're looking at a 222-point tank. And what you have to ask yourself is my Leman Annihilator going to do more damage than a Leman tank commander with battle cannon, las cannon, and some heavy bolters? Classic Leman loader. And the answer is probably no, because the tank commander hits on a 3+, and if it's Pask, can hit on a 2+. So I would leave it as 182 points. I have always said a normal amount to pay for Leman Russ is 180-ish points, 180 to 185 points. And in some cases that gets you sponsons and other bits and bobs, and in some cases it doesn't. But you don't really want to be spending any more than that on a basic Leman Russ, because they're not that tough. They will go down, but they're pretty good. They're pretty reliable. A couple of Leman Annihilators with a Tech Priest repairing them, plus a bit of jury rigging, that's 10 lascannon shots. That's really good. And the last thing I want to say is that it's really, really easy to convert a Leman Russ Annihilator. It's really easy. I tell you what you do. You go and buy a normal Leman Russ kit and you take a look at the Exterminator autocannon. It's got 2 barrels. Cut the barrels off for the Exterminator and glue on a couple of las cannons. And there you go. You've got it. Easy peasy. For added effect, glue some battery packs on the side of the turret as well. I saw someone do this on Reddit the other day. It looked fantastic. So, that's it, guys, basically. The only thing to mention is you can't put a tank commander in either one of these options, okay? But the Leman Russ Conqueror is a solid mainline battle tank, and the Leman Russ Annihilator is a pretty bloody good dedicated tank hunting vehicle. Both of which come in at a very tasty 180 to 185 points, and both of them are very viable alternatives to your regular Leman Russes. Only thing to watch out for is make sure if you go into an event that you're you're allowed to use Forgeworld units. And the second thing is, I wouldn't, if it was me, and I'm going to do this with my wand, if it was me, I wouldn't just take a normal battle cannon and say, this is a Conqueror battle cannon. I would do something to model it to make it look like an actual Conqueror battle cannon. Either shorten the barrel, or with a bit of glue and green stuff, make sure it looks as a coaxial storm bolter. Make a little bit of an effort, guys, so that it's obviously not just abusing things, and that we're actually, you've put a bit of effort in to earn that model, to earn the right to use the rules of that model. Okay? So, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Thank you for listening. Leave lots and lots of comments. Tell if anyone out there's used the Annihilator or the Conqueror. Leave lots and lots of comments. And of course, I'll see you guys next time.